Hello, so today we are going to talk about 5 natively Spanish books based on things that you might have liked in English. I don't know if that made any sense. All of these are aimed at kind of 18 and under, so they are a little bit easier, but not always. They are all science fiction or fantasy, so they are going to have some odd vocabulary. That's just the name of the game, but I did enjoy reading all of these. So we're starting at the youngest ones and going up. So first we have the Kadabra series. I have listened to the first 2 of these, and I do plan to get the ebooks and read along with them because I believe they have pictures, and I think it would be more fun to read them with pictures. They are only about an hour and 15 minutes each, so definitely not a big time investment, and these were really cute. I would say that you might like these if you like The Worst Witch, which is a book series and also a TV show. If you like the Witchlings book or the Ava Evergreen book. I don't think that I like Kadabra nearly as well as those books, but it is also aimed at younger kids, so it would be hard for it to be as impactful as those books. Those are middle grade, and this is probably younger. Definitely younger than that, but very, very cute. You are following a young girl who discovers she is a witch when she moves to this new school, new area, and accidentally discovers that she is a witch, and she has a familiar that is a cat, and there are other characters that have familiars, and they just have very short little conflicts or adventures. Not revolutionizing my world, but a cute series, and again, I do plan to reread these. Next up would probably be the Losios Del Norte series. This has 4 books in it, and I have read 3 of them. So I struggled to think of exactly what this book reminds me of, or what this series reminds me of, but I would say there is some Narnia aspect in there because we have multiple kind of worlds that you were transitioning between. But the other one that it kind of reminds me of is the show Hilda, in the graphic novels Hilda. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but it kind of has that countryside feel and the mythology aspect. Different mythology because this is Basque mythology. But it does have that kind of mythical creatures, that history behind it, and kind of more of a cozy feel than something like Narnia. But in the Losios Del Norte series, we are following 3 siblings, 2 sisters and a brother, who are visiting their grandmother in Basque country from assorted places in Europe, and they discover that there is another world, and they have to do assorted adventures over the course of the 3 books to kind of try to restore equilibrium between these worlds. I really, really enjoy this series, and I do want to finish it very soon, and I would definitely consider rereading it or at least re-listening to it. I loved learning more about Basque mythology, and it was just a really endearing series. Next up, age-wise, I think would be Stravagantia by Laura Gallego, and this is a standalone kind of middle grade or young YA that also is a little bit reminiscent of Narnia because crossing over, fantasy worlds, obviously that's a very common thing, not just Narnia. But this one has the additional Narnia-like aspect of having characters like fauns and other kind of traditional fantasy creatures in the Western canon. And this one reminded me a little bit of Inkheart as well. I only read that book once, and it was when I was like 8, so my memories are very foggy, but just kind of that very traditional middle grade YA fantasy, it really reminded me of that. But this does have a romance aspect as well, and so that is thrown in there too. Then, speaking of romance, we have the Memorias de Idhun trilogy, also by Laura Gallego, and I have read the first one of these. I certainly may continue the series. I kind of off and on listen to the second one when I am kind of between audiobooks and can't decide what to listen to. But these are very, very long books. So if you are willing to commit to a very hefty YA fantasy series, then this would be a great opportunity for one. The first one I think was about 20 hours, and then I think they go 30 hours and 40 hours. So quite a commitment, but you would get a lot of really good repeated vocabulary over that time. These do remind me a little bit of the whole love triangle craze of, the early 2000s, the 2010s. So, Twilight. I struggled to put the Hunger Games in that category, but I know that many people do. This one is a little bit darker than the previous ones. Again, we have full-blown gone into YA now, so there are some darker themes, some characters going through, really hard things. But in the first book, at least, we are following a young boy who discovers, well, not a young boy, a young teenager who discovers that, the world is not as he thought it was. He has to kind of take refuge in the magical world, and there's all kinds of drama and villainous creatures and dark forces, and yeah. Lastly, and my favorite one on this list probably would be La Flor y la Muerte, and this is the first book in a series. This book is, I would say, kind of a mix between Skyward by Brandon Sanderson and maybe a little bit Percy Jackson. We have a reimagined space society version of the Olympic gods, the 12 Olympic deities. So in this book, we're following approximately 4 people through kind of the training program to become an elite of the Olympic company, basically is what it is. So each god has their own force that carries out that specific role in society. So there's technology, nature, all those different things. And I really, really liked this book. I cannot wait to continue this series, and hopefully it continues being a favorite. But yeah, definitely a good pick. This was quite a bit more difficult to read. There was a lot more advanced vocabulary in this book, and the shifting perspectives. I initially tried to listen to it as an audiobook, and I ended up having to switch to the ebook with the audiobook just because switching characters every chapter got really confusing for me, especially since I'm not really familiar with the Greek gods, and they call them by both their service title, so Demeter or whatever, and their name. And so I just had no idea who anyone was when I was trying to listen to it. But once I switched to the ebook, it was fine. But yeah, this one is a really good pick if you are ready for kind of a more advanced YA, almost to a new adult book. But yeah, so hopefully you got something additional for your reading list, and I will see you in the next video.